Hey everyone, it's Arnav this side. Today we have Raspberry Pi 5 4GB model with us, and I have already connected the active cooler because I have been using it as a primary device for a couple of days, and you can see the connections I have made over here. Now on the downward side we have the Type-C port to connect the power supply to the Raspberry Pi, and over here we have two micro HDMI port for the 4K 60fps output. And on the top we have the RC battery connection for the date and time configuration saving and the debugging port. And over here we have two PCI connector to connect the display and camera module. I already have a camera module, but I will show you in the next video. And over this side we have the PoE connector to connect the power over Ethernet head to power the Raspberry Pi through the Ethernet cable. And over here we have two 2.0 USB connections and two 3.0 USB connector, and over here the 3 gigabit Ethernet port for the 5 Gbps internet speed connection. And on the downside we have the SD card connector to boot the Raspberry Pi through SD card. And on the top over here we have the PCI Express connection to connect an M.2 to it, but at this point Raspberry Pi doesn't provide any yet officially. And then we have the power button to turn the power Raspberry Pi on and off. Let me focus a little bit. And then we have the LED indicator to show us the power status of the Raspberry Pi. Now let us look at some of the bootable medium options that we have. So first of all, this is an HDD and it's a 320GB Western Digital HDD that I have took from my old laptop. And in the back I have connected a plywood so that I can mount my Raspberry Pi on the back of it. And as you can see, I have connected 4 standoffs. You can buy it from the local computer shop. And I have secured the HDD to the plywood by using a bunch of screws. And you can also boot it from SD card if you want, but SD cards are pretty much slow, so I suggest you to use an SSD or an HDD to boot the Raspberry Pi. And you will also need this type of card reader so that you can flash the OS on the SD cards. And last but not the least, we have a pen drive. So let us move to the power supply that we have. So this is a local power supply and it supports 5V 3A, but I suggest you to use a 5V 5A. I didn't get the official one because it is out of stock in India at the current point. So this is a Type-C cable and make sure it supports 25 to 30 watts of maximum power output. Now let us look at the SATA cable connection. This is a SATA cable connection so that we can connect the HDD to my Raspberry Pi. So make sure it has a 3.0 USB port because 3.0 are faster than 2.0 ports. Now the Raspberry Pi is very much small in size. You can compare it to a debit card. Let me show you. So let us see. So you can see it's the same size to a debit card. So it's a very small in size and can be used in various type of projects. We will see in the future videos. Now let us move to the computer and see how we'll boot the pen drive. As you can see, I am on my desktop. So first of all, open the browser and then search for Raspberry Pi OS. Go to the first website as it is the official website. And now scroll to the downward and you will see bunch of download options. So first of all, this is the download option for the Windows users. Then we have the Mac users. Then we have the Ubuntu. And it is a 32-bit, make sure that. Then the terminal command prompt comma code so that you can use that to download the Pi imager on the Raspberry Pi OS. So I will download it for the Windows. So as you can see, the download already started, but I will cancel it because I have already installed the Pi imager on my device. Now move to the start menu and search for Pi imager. As you can see, the Pi imager has started. Let me maximize the screen for better visibility. So first of all, we have the device to choose, then we have the operating system, then the bootable medium. So let us choose the device. So these are the different type of device that Raspberry Pi have. So today we will use the Raspberry Pi 5. Then you have to choose the OS. So first of all, here we have the 64-bit OS. So I recommend you to use this one. And then we have the 32-bit. And you can also install custom OS. So click here and you can choose the ISO file. I have already downloaded Ubuntu ISO file and the Kali Linux ISO file. But today I will show you how to install Pi OS. So let us choose this one. Now choose the bootable medium. So make sure you choose the correct bootable medium because it will format that device. So be careful in this section. After you have chosen the installation media, I will hit next. Hit the next option. Now if you want to use the Raspberry Pi with an HDMI cord to connect to a monitor, then hit yes. There is no need to edit any settings. But today we will see how to do headless installation, that means wirelessly connecting to the Raspberry Pi to a monitor. So hit edit settings. Now you will see this type of settings. So first of all you have to set the host name. So I will put the default host name, that is Raspberry Pi. You can change it if you want. Now the username. I have already have an SSD connection with an Pi name, so I will use a different name. So today I will use Ornov as a test purpose. Now put the password. I will suggest you to use a small password so that you can use it in future and remember it easily. Now use the wireless connection SSID, that is the name of your Wi-Fi. So this is the name of my Wi-Fi that I am using currently. Let me show you. So as you can see, this is the Wi-Fi I have connected to. Now put the password of your Wi-Fi. You can click show password so that you can check if you have put the correct password. Now choose the country from which the LAN connection is belong. I will choose India because I am from India. Now choose the time zone. I will choose Asia Calcutta. Now choose the keyboard. There is no Indian keyboard, so I will use the US keyboard. Then you can use bunch of different SSH services. Keep it enabled. Now here is the bunch of options. You can play a sound when the booting option is finished or eject the bootable medium when the flashing is finished. You can click or may not click these options. Now hit save. Now hit yes. It is asking that the bootable medium will be erased, so click yes. Now it will take some time because it will download the ISO file and then it will boot on the bootable medium. It will depend on the system that you are using and the SD card, or you are using an SSD. So let us meet after the bootable system is already over. As you can see, the flashing process is finished. Now I will take out the SD card and put it on my Raspberry Pi. So here is the Raspberry Pi and the SD card that we have flashed with the Pi OS. So make sure you put the SD card in this way, not this way. So be gentle with the ports because you may damage it. Now connect the power supply to the Raspberry Pi. You will see a green light, that means it's all okay and a bootable medium has been detected by the Raspberry Pi. Now the active cooler will flow at a full speed. Now wait for 5 minutes to give the time to the Raspberry Pi to boot. Now one thing, make sure you should not touch the Raspberry Pi barehandedly because you may get a shock, because at this point the Raspberry Pi is not grounded. Now move to the desktop. As you can see, I have opened the settings. Now search command prompt and hit enter. Over here type SSH and then the username. In my case I have used Ornop. Then give @ and then put the host name of your Pi. In my case it is Raspberry Pi, I will give that. Now you may need to wait for some time because sometime you may get an error. So let the Raspberry Pi boot for some time. So if you get an error like this, I am getting this error because I have already used the SSH connection. So this is the fingerprint of my older device, so I just need to delete this file. So I will just delete the file, and this is the destination of the file that is shown and below. So this is the destination of the file. You can see, just you have to go to the destination and delete the file. So after deleting the file, if you give this command again, you should not get an error. As you can see, I am on the same Wi-Fi network with my Raspberry Pi and this desktop. Now it's asking you to hit enter or yes if you want to continue, and this is the new fingerprint of our device. So just type yes and hit enter. Now it's asking for the password that we have used earlier. Just put the password and hit enter. Now you can see we are inside the Raspberry Pi and this is the terminal. Let me hit yes and show you the directories we have. So these are the directories of our Raspberry Pi, and you can pretty much use the Raspberry Pi like this if you want. But some people might need to use the graphical user interface, that is the GUI interface of the Raspberry Pi. So you can see this is the wireless configurations. So if you want to use the Raspberry Pi in a GUI format, you will need an additional third-party software, that is VNC. Now before that you need to change some settings in the Raspberry Pi. So configuration files, so type sudo raspberry pi config and you will see a interface like this. Now move to the interface options and scroll down and select VNC. Now hit yes and enter. Now it will show you that the VNC server is enabled. Now hit OK and select finish and hit enter. So the configurations are successfully done. Now just reboot the system. Sorry, sudo reboot you have to type. Now let us see how to download the real VNC viewer. So first open the browser and search for real VNC viewer. Now go to the first website. Let me maximize the screen. So now go to the first website and click enter. So you will see bunch of download options. Download as per your requirements. So I will download it for Windows. You can also use it in Android phone if you want. Just hit download and you can see the download has started, but I will cancel it because I have already installed the files. Now just open the real VNC viewer. So here you can see there are different Pi that are connected to my devices. So if you want to add your device, before that you have to know the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. So for that I will use advanced IP scanner. Now hit scan. You will see a list of devices that are connected to a router. So these are the devices that are connected to my router. If you have found out the IP address of your Raspberry Pi, you need to set static DHCP server on your router. So these settings vary from router to router, so you may not get the same settings on your router. You just need to type the router name on the YouTube and search for static DHCP server. So after setting static DHCP server, follow the next step. So I will show you the settings on my router. So first of all, go to the connected network. So here you will see a list of devices that are connected to my router. So this is the Raspberry Pi that is connected. Hit info and remember the IP address of your Raspberry Pi and the MAC address of your Raspberry Pi. It is crucial to know these two information to set static DHCP server. Now go to the LAN settings and hit static DHCP. After hitting static DHCP, add a new client. Hit this option. Now hit active and put the MAC address of your device. So this is the MAC address of my Raspberry Pi and the IP address that you want to assign. Basically, mainly it is 192.168.1. anything that you want that should range from 1 to 256. So I will put 9, then hit OK. So this IP address is static. So the Raspberry Pi only have this IP address every time it tries to connect to my router. Now just open the VNC viewer. Now we need to add a new connection. So for that you need to click on the file and hit new connection. So here we need to apply the IP address that we have assigned to our Raspberry Pi. In my case it is 192.168.1.5. So now you need to add a name so that you can identify the Raspberry Pi from the different ones. I will give test Pi So after that you can change some other settings. So here you can change the picture quality that will be represented. I will select high, and the scale in which the window will open, I will keep it automatic. So here you are the different options, but do not change anything, just keep it by default. After saving the settings, you will see a new option pop up on the screen. So this is the new Raspberry Pi connection. So this is different from the other connections. So click on that and you will see a window like this. So you may need to wait for a few minutes so that the Raspberry Pi gets connected to the VNC server. So after waiting for a few minutes, you will see a window pop up. So this is the window, and this you can see the IP address of your Raspberry Pi and the new signature that is been assigned. Just click continue and it will ask you for the username and the password that we have used during the installation. In my case it's Ornop and the password I have used previously. Just click the password and you click remember password so that it automatically fetches the password every time you try to log in. Now you can see we are inside the Raspberry Pi wirelessly. So it's very cool to see that we can connect to a Raspberry Pi wirelessly so easily. So that's pretty much how you boot Raspberry Pi using an SD card. But if you are trying to boot from an SSD or an HDD and not using a 5V 5A charger, then you will not able to boot, because the default boot is not the USB port if you are using a low power supply. So for that you need to force the Raspberry Pi to boot from an USB port so that you can boot. So this is the process how to boot from an HDD without using the official charger. First of all, open the file manager and then you need to navigate to the boot file. After navigating to the boot file, you will see a config.txt file. Just click on that and you need to just add this command line. You will find this in the description box. Just copy and paste this line on the file and save the file. After you have saved this file successfully, it will automatically tell the BIOS that you need to boot from the USB port. So that's pretty much how you can boot the Raspberry Pi from an HDD and SSD. So that's it for today. I have shown you how to boot Raspberry Pi from an SD card and HDD without using the official charger. I think it's pretty much helpful for a lot of people. And if you have any queries, and I know everyone's installation experience is not same, you may leave a comment about the query that you are getting. I will try my best to help you out. In the next video, I will show you how to install ad blocker and use the Raspberry Pi as an ad blocker on the local area network. And it's pretty much easy to do and pretty much easy to installation. It will take about 4 to 5 minutes to configure the Raspberry Pi. Let us see how does this work, and I will show you the dashboard of my ad blocker. So this is the IP address of my Raspberry Pi ad blocker, and you can see this is the dashboard and the websites that he has blocked and the number of malicious website that he has blocked.